Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Apparently, two bodies were found in the landing gear of a JetBlue airplane, and they're now saying that those two bodies are actually two Jamaicans. What it's looking like, people, is that two Jamaicans stowed away and tried to make their way into the United States of America and ended up dying due to the conditions of the places that this jet landed in, spent time in before it took off to its final destination. So far, the news that we have is the destination of the plane as well as the journey of the plane if you listen carefully. Boy, this sad. It's sad because being in Jamaica now and realizing how sweet Jamaica is, I tell people this all the time. If I was supposed to actually leave Jamaica and go, say, to Panama and then make my way through Mexico and then get across the border dealing with all the coyotes being extorted, the cartel, all these other things, sleeping underground in underground tunnels, risk being killed or raped or something, me would I just stay in my yard? Because honestly, Jamaica ain't that bad. But I've said before, Jamaica is heaven on earth for some people, and it's hell on earth for others. So sometimes when you see our people risk their lives to leave, they might be the kind of people who this beautiful island is actually hell on earth for. In my particular personal case, life not set up like that for me. And for that, I am thankful that I've never had to do any drastic measures like these. Now, the story says, according to CBS News, they said that the Broward County Sheriff deputies and medical examiners descended upon a Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport overnight after bodies were found in an aircraft compartment on a JetBlue Airways plane. JetBlue issued a statement that said that two people were found dead in one of their aircraft's landing gear compartment on Monday night. The bodies were found during a routine inspection after the plane had landed. Now, the circumstances surrounding how these two individuals actually gained access to the aircraft and this part of the aircraft remains under investigation. This is a heartbreaking situation, and JetBlue says we are committed to working closely with the authorities to support their efforts to understand how all this took place. If you ask me, somebody who worked there knew about these two guys or these two individuals making it into that part of the airplane. Because you see how the airport is set up, you see how the checks and checkpoints go. You can't really make it to an airplane on the runway from, say, outer road on the streets unnoticed. So when this story is finally unfolded completely, it's going to be interesting to see what the truth of how they got there turns out to be. Now, the carrier said that the aircraft most recently operated as Flight 1801 from New York's JFK Airport, International Airport in New York. That's according to CBS News senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve. They said that the Airbus A320 departed JFK from New York on Monday night at 8:20 p.m. The temperatures in New York were freezing at this point. It arrived in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, a few minutes late of its schedule. It arrived at 11:03 p.m. Florida is a bit warmer at this time of the year, but New York was going through its freezing moments. Mind you, they're probably in there with no proper gear on. Nothing to keep them warm, all that. It gets worse. The cruising altitude for the plane was approximately 38,000 feet in the air, sustained at 38,000 feet for 2 hours and 43 minutes of that flight. And this is according to data that they got from what's called Flight Radar 24. So you could imagine being inside of the landing gear, somebody tell you, say, give me your money. May we get you in there. Just stay calm, stay cool, and then, how the landing part's going to go. And you bought it. Now, I know a lot of people are wondering, it said the plane started out in New York in this story. So how did two Jamaicans get on it, and why would two Jamaicans fly from New York to Florida through such drastic measures? That's not the story. Let's clear this up. The plane began its day in Kingston, Jamaica. According to Transportation Security Administration, the plane flew from Jamaica and it flew to JFK in New York. And then it took a mad turn and went to Salt Lake City in Utah. And then it went back to JFK from Salt Lake City. And then it left from JFK to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This is according to Van Cleve, who said that the plane overnighted in Kingston after arriving from JFK on January 5th. This plane went on a long journey. This plane flew to Jamaica from JFK. It stayed overnight in Jamaica, and it took off from Kingston Airport, Norman Manley International, and it went from there back to JFK. Then it went from JFK to Salt Lake City, Utah. Then it went from Salt Lake City, Utah, back to JFK. Then it went from JFK over to Fort Lauderdale Airport in Florida, where it made its final stop. Apparently, all this time, two individuals are said to be Jamaicans were inside of the landing gear. I don't know if them didn't know where to get off, or they got spooked and got scared and decided to stay on, or what the case was, or maybe they were dead by the time that plane left Jamaica and made its first leg of its flight into JFK, New York, into the freezing temperatures of JFK, New York. They also said that it is protocol for pilots to do a walk around of the plane before each flight. Now, part of the inspection is to check the wheel wells. It's possible that the people weren't immediately visible in this case. They might have been there, but out of sight. According to Broward County Sheriff's Office in Florida, the deceased are both males, and beyond that, their identities at this point are unknown. So they weren't traveling with any papers, markers where people can say this is John Smith and James Brown, etc. So they don't know who these two men are. The Jamaica Observer in Jamaica, Jamaica's news, is reporting that the bodies are believed to be Jamaican nationals. But CBS News in Miami has not independently confirmed that information, if they actually are Jamaicans or not. Broward Sheriff Crime and Homicide Detectives are working to learn how they ended up in the wheel compartment. The county's medical examiner's office will perform autopsies to determine what actually caused their deaths. Were they killed and then placed there? were they killed from freezing temperatures or asphyxiation or whatever the case may be, right? So imagine you hide away on a plane and you say, "Me I go a foreign," and you end up in foreign under the knife of a medical examiner who is doing an autopsy on you to figure out how you actually died on this plane. It's clearly a security breach there, they said. You wonder if it's too many passengers. It's the holidays. But that right there should never have happened, said one JetBlue passenger. The news media reporter also said that the wheel well is not typically pressurized or heated, and that temperatures at altitude are well below freezing. Below freezing, People who choose to stow away like this, they almost always face death. Very few have survived choosing to stow away like this. I hope this is also a message to those who are thinking that they can make it this route as well. You're going to reach a foreign, and a coroner or a medical examiner is going to be doing an autopsy on you, my friend. A similar incident happened over the holidays in Hawaii, where a body was found in the wheel well of a United Airlines flight from Chicago that landed in Maui in Hawaii. And there is no explanation as to how that person even got on the ramp, let alone got into that part of the airplane. JetBlue Airways is headquartered in Long Island City in Queens, New York, and it has a field office on the property of Orlando International Airport. So right now, they're going to be doing all the checks, all the inspections, all the verifications, trying to see if it is actually true that the two individuals are Jamaicans, and also working with law enforcement to try to figure out who let them in and helped them to stow away in that part of the plane. Now, if you take the news out of Jamaica, it says that according to a report from CNN, the airlines on Tuesday said that the bodies found were discovered during a post-flight maintenance inspection after it operated as Flight 1801 from JFK International Airport in New York. The plane owners or the plane management airline also stated that the investigation has been launched to get to the bottom of the circumstances of how the deceased individuals actually gained access to that part of the aircraft. Clearly, there's foul play here. Foul play not as in somebody killed them and stowed them in there. In my opinion, foul play is somebody might have charged them a fee and sold them a dream and a story. You want to go there? I can get you there. Pay me this much. I put you in a this place, and the rest. According to Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA, the landing gear compartment is often used by stowaways who don't realize how little space is available in that area where the gear is retracted. Stowaways who are not crushed often end up losing consciousness because of a lack of oxygen or because of freezing temperatures once the plane has hit its cruising altitude. And mind you, their cruising altitude for this flight was said to be over 38,000 feet in the air, well below freezing temperatures. Boy, these things happen. These things happen. I'll say it like this. As beautiful as Jamaica is, it's just sad to see that some people will take these types of measures to get away, to what they feel like they're getting away to go live a better life. And they end up in situations like these. They had good intentions for themselves. Them people here probably even applied for visas many times and were rejected many times. A lot of Jamaicans apply for visas and are rejected, and they have no criminal record. They are progressive, productive citizens. It is just that somebody deems you a person who they don't feel qualifies to get a visa to travel go a foreign. So they deny you. And also, once people are denied, that visa fee that they have to pay, that visa fee goes into the pockets of the people at the embassy. We did a video on this before where we spoke about that they are making millions of US dollars simply rejecting Jamaicans who apply for a visa to go overseas. You are rejected, you didn't get to travel, you will apply again. You apply again, you are rejected, you didn't get to travel, you apply again. Try until you get through. In the meantime, each time you pay, they keep the fee. It's a non-refundable fee. Think about all that. People get frustrated. Some people are like, man, I want a better life for myself. Things ain't working out here for me. You know, I pay a 3 times already. Me apply, me reapply, me triple apply. Them reject me all 3 times. I don't have a criminal record. I'm not a bad person. I'm a hard-working person. They just won't let me in. So I have to find another way. The paramedics declared both of them dead at the scene. The Broad County Sheriff's Office said on Tuesday the agency's homicide and crime scene units are now investigating to see what the situation is. I have an idea of a way how they might be able to identify these individuals quickly. Post their faces on the Jamaica news. Somebody is going to see their family members and say, that's them. Anyways, we end the video right here. Thank God if you are not one of these people who have had to take these desperate measures, because you know them have a saying, when trouble take you, picnic shot or picnic boot fit you. Not true? And true trouble not take you, you might not understand why they took these desperate measures. I'll catch you on the next video. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.